Welcome to a Google Earth spatial tour of the Aral Sea crisis, compiled by myself, Aral. This tour will firstly look at the causes behind rapid shrinking and then the impacts this has had environmentally, socially and economically, and finally touching on what is being done to rectify the disaster. We start by locating the Aral Sea in relationship to the globe. Click the information icon for a large base map. It is important to get the scale of the Aral Sea in order to appreciate it. This comparison with Northern Ireland and Ireland shows the Aral Sea to be 4/5 the size. The Aral Sea is situated on the border between Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan in Central Asia, fed by the water of two main Central Asian rivers, the Amu to the south and the Syria to the northeast. The Aral Sea was in 1960 the world's fourth largest inland water body. The shoreline in 1960 is outlined in pink. At one time it was a productive fishery, however a salt lake, therefore it was not a source of agricultural water. However the two rivers which ran into it are a source of fresh agricultural water. Large areas of irrigation were developed along the banks of both rivers in the 1960s, diverting much of the Aral Sea's inflow to grow cotton, melon and cereal grains. A major part of the Soviet Union's plan for large cotton, aka white gold exports. Just 10 years later, in 1970, there is a noticeable shoreline retreat. The banks of the Amu are lined with a network of agricultural irrigation canals. Irrigation continues to expand along both rivers through the 1970s and 1990s, increasing the deficit of water flowing into the Aral Basin. As a result, a negative 30 cubic kilometers per year were lost, the equivalent to 12 million Olympic-sized swimming pools each year. The shrinking was enhanced by poor irrigation practices, where waterlogging was common along the farmland, having consequences of its own such as increased soil salinity. By 1987, about 60% of the Aral Sea's volume had been lost. Its depth had been declined by 40 meters and its salt concentration had doubled, killing commercial fishing trade. Now in 2000, the comparison with Ireland and Northern Ireland shows a reduction to less than 2/5 its size. The dried southern basin has a negative impact on the area beyond the lake, in that all of the minerals that are exposed at the bottom of the lake, such as pesticides and salt deposits, are being blown around, salinizing crops and causing health problems such as lung disease. Life expectancies in the districts near the sea are significantly lower than in the surrounding areas, and conditions are much harsher. In an attempt to save the northern basin, a dam 14 kilometers in length was built in 2005, keeping Syria waters from flowing into the southern Aral Basin. And due to the decrease in irrigation upstream from the Aral, this has led to a significant recovery of the northern Aral Sea. The 2008 base map shows the extent of the depletion. This closely matches the 2014 imagery. More in-depth information can be found on the eye icon that is flashing up on the screen as we speak. To conclude, the sea is now a quarter of the size it was 50 years ago. Without dramatic measures, the southern sea may completely dry up. The link to this KML file can be found on Google, therefore you can explore this area on Google Earth for yourself today.